They say some places remember pain, and some nights refuse to forget. This is the story of Platform 7, and the train that should never arrive. Alex had taken the last local train every night for 3 years. Same time, same platform, same silence. But tonight, something was different. The air was heavier, colder. A thick mist clung to the ground, swallowing the dim station lights and muffling every sound. The usual late-night hum of the city was gone, replaced by an unnerving stillness. He glanced at the large station clock. It was stuck at 2:17 a.m., and the station was completely empty. Eerily empty. No Chaiwala calling out his last few cups of the night. No gruff station guard making his rounds. No sleepy passengers waiting for the last ride home. Not even a stray dog scavenging for scraps. The entire place felt like a forgotten photograph. The only sounds were his own breathing, shallow and quick, and a cold, creeping wind that smelled like rust and something else. Something like rot. He pulled his jacket tighter, a shiver running down his spine that had nothing to do with the cold. His unease grew with every passing second in the suffocating silence. Then the train arrived. It slid into the station without a warning announcement, without the familiar rumble that usually shook the platform. No headlights cut through the mist, just the piercing shriek of metal screaming against metal, a sound that grated on the nerves and set his teeth on edge. The ancient-looking locomotive, dark and hulking, pulled a line of equally dark carriages. It slowed, groaning, and stopped, exactly in front of him, as if it had been waiting just for him. The doors hissed and slid open, by themselves. A wave of cold, stagnant air washed over him. Inside, there were people, dozens of them, sitting perfectly still in their seats, not moving a muscle. He squinted, trying to make sense of the scene. Their faces were pale, like wax figures under the dim, flickering emergency lights of the carriage. Their eyes were wide open, but they were empty, lifeless, staring into nothing. A cold dread, far colder than the night air, began to seep into Alex's heart. He stepped in. Why did he step in? Perhaps because his legs, frozen by a primal fear, had forgotten how to run. Or perhaps it was a morbid curiosity, the kind that whispers terrible ideas into your ear, the kind that had killed the cat. The moment he crossed the threshold, the atmosphere thickened. The air inside was heavy, still, and carried the faint sweetish scent of decay. He looked around. No one blinked, no one breathed, and no one, absolutely no one, looked alive. They were just statues in a moving tomb. Then a movement caught his eye. An old woman sitting by the window slowly turned her head. The motion was unnatural, jerky. Her neck cracked with a sound like dry wood snapping. Her cloudy eyes fixed on him, a flicker of ancient knowledge in their depths. A dry, rasping whisper slithered from her lips, a sound that seemed to crawl right into his soul. "You are not supposed to be here." Her words hung in the dead air. A chilling sentence passed in a court of the damned. The lights in the carriage began to flicker violently, casting a strobe effect across the frozen faces of the passengers. In the flashing darkness, the shadows on the walls started to move, to writhe and stretch even when no one did. They danced and twisted like living things, independent of the people who cast them. Suddenly, with a deafening bang that made Alex jump, the train doors slammed shut. He was trapped. He lunged for the doors, pounding on the glass, but it was like hitting solid steel. He spun around and looked out the windows, desperate for a sight of the station, of the city, of anything familiar. But outside, there was no city, no tracks, no flickering lights of the world he knew, only darkness. An endless, bottomless, absolute void. A darkness that felt alive, that seemed to be watching him with a million unseen eyes. A suffocating emptiness that pressed in on the train from all sides. He felt like he was falling into an infinite abyss. Slowly, a sound like 100 cracking necks filled the carriage. Every single head in the train turned towards Alex. In perfect, terrifying unison, men, women, children, all of them now faced him at the same time. Their mouths opened wide, impossibly wide, in a silent collective scream, a chorus of pure, soundless agony. No sound came out, but he could feel the scream, a psychic shriek that tore at his sanity and made his ears ring with phantom noise. He ran. He turned and scrambled down the aisle, but it never ended. The carriage stretched before him, an impossible corridor. The walls seemed to breathe, to pulse and melt like wax. The floor became soft and yielding, trying to swallow his feet. And the faces. The pale, screaming faces of the passengers followed him, their images burning into his vision, distorting and twisting. They were getting closer and closer, their empty eyes promising an eternity of shared silence. Next morning, a body was found on Platform 7. The first train of the day was delayed as police cordoned off the area. The man's eyes were wide open, his face frozen in a mask of absolute terror. On his phone, clutched in his hand, a single message draft was open. It read, "The train is not for the living. Platform 7 still waits every night at 2:17 a.m.